Hello everyone, welcome back. So today we are going to be looking at a issue of some couple of bugs that we've actually produced. So we've produced our first bugs in this app. A bug is usually different than like broken code because a bug is behavior that you don't want. And so let's go ahead and go into here. This is our run and debug, and hit the play button to launch our app if you set it up correctly according to a previous episode. And if we click me, you notice the button disappears. Where'd the button go? Let's look for it. Oh, there it is. It's way down at the bottom. Why is the button way down here? The reason why this button is moving around is actually fairly simple. If we look at our index.html, we have our button here and our displayed text tag right here. So when this tag is inserting, when we press this JavaScript button, what we're saying is that we're adding it to the displayed text. So what that means is this tag right here is getting all the information added to it, and so it's becoming bigger. And so this is getting pushed down. So what we want is to actually have this. If we cut that with Command X and then go up here and then paste it right here with Command V. So now I should have, if I look at my screen, if I refresh this, it should look, oh, it looks like that now. So the click me button's here. But if I click it now, it stays there. So now we can just have our click me button there, or we can even move it one higher. If we move it one higher, because the input is actually an inline type of, it's not this is a difference between a button and a P. P is a block tag, and this one is an inline, but we're actually input is almost always inline. But let's go ahead and copy this. So if I can actually just highlight this. I don't have to highlight anything. I hit Command X and it takes the whole line. Let's add it one more line up. Let's put it in front of the input tag. And now let's save it, and now let's look at it. If I refresh, I hit Alt Tab to go back and forth between screens. So now the click me button's right here, which seems nicer. And now it stays in one place. So that's good. So that's actually a commit. And this is one of those things where it's good to make small commits. Git add cut, git commit -m, and the message is move button up so it stays put. Git push. Okay, so now we've done a commit. It's very important to do small commits because it helps so that if you make a mistake and you screw everything up and you're like, I gotta check out, and so if you get into a place where you're really messed up, you can, so let's say if you go like this, say I delete this and I type a bunch of stuff in here. All right, so now if I hit save, and if I go over here, okay, cancel, wait, I didn't mean that. If I go back to this and I hit refresh, everything's borked. Well, I forgot what that was before, but that's okay, because I can just go over here and I can do git checkout dot, and ta-da, everything comes back. So what that does is that's because it takes you back to the last commit. So it says, I'm going to undo all the changes you've made since the last commit. So if you're doing small commits and you're doing them regularly, then this is a great tool. But if you do a whole bunch of code, if you're coding for hours before you do a commit, then you get into a broken state, and you're going to have to try to figure that out. It's going to take you a lot longer. So that's just so if I hit refresh, we're back to normal. But okay, that's a little tip on git checkout. So what next thing we want to do is the other bug that I realized is if I hit click me, great. But if I hit click me again, guess what happens? We just increased it all the way. It just became bigger. Interesting. They're not in alphabetical order, so it's hard to see. So hit click me a couple more times. Now it's even bigger. If you can kind of see this thing on the side going down, getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller, because we're now have all of these guys and all of these guys and all of these guys You see Bulbasaur again there, and there's Bulbasaur again, and then there's Bulbasaur again, and we kind of have what's happening here. So what's happening is every time we hit click me, because in our JavaScript code we have this append, it just keeps on adding. Append means to add something to this, to our displayed text p tag here. So this element keeps on having things added to it every time for every single one of these keeps adding more and more and more. And so we don't want this document get element by ID append. This is not the right solution for what we're looking to do. So what we want to actually change this to is to use a jQuery. jQuery has a function that does this, that solves this problem. And basically what this does is it gives us a, so if you use jQuery, so the $ references jQuery, and then we're open parentheses and quotes allows us to pass in an ID or a class or something like that based, when I say ID, I mean this ID, or if we had a class, something that said class here, we could pass in a class as well in there. But the way to pass ID, and the way you would check this is check the documentation, just Google search jQuery reference element. But to get an ID is a number sign, and so then our ID is displayed text, and then what we want to do is that we want to do dot HTML, and this is a function that is built into jQuery, which basically says, well, this now once again needs a list of all of the HTML, but it says, I want you to set the HTML on this to this. I'm not wanting to just add it or append it. I want you to just set it this. So in order for this to work, we need this to become a list again. So this needs to return a list. So we say const Pokemon list equals, and then we say map. And so because a map actually returns something, a for each does not return anything. So a map returns a list that basically map says, give me a list. Data.results is a list of just the names and URLs. All we're using from that is the names right now. And so it says data.result. This takes a list, and we call .map on that list. And this is what's called one of the built-in functions in JavaScript. Any list you can call certain functions on with a .map or calling a function on that list. But so we're calling a .map, which basically returns another list so we need to have a return value here. So this doesn't belong here anymore. Now we just type return H2 element, because this is the thing we've created here. This is has our Pokemon name for this item in the list. So what map does is, it runs for every item in this list. It calls this function for every item in this list. It says for every single Pokemon object, they're coming with an object with a name and key, we say Pokemon.name, and we are setting that to inner HTML of our HTML element, our H2 element that we created here with this, and then we return that, which means it's adding it to the list. And so now this is converting it from a list of objects that have name and a Pokemon and the URL of more details of the Pokemon. It's changing that from an object of name URL into a list of these H2 elements. So I could do it before. And now we just pass Pokemon list into here. So now if I hit save, if we go into back to our thing, refresh it, back to our page, click me. So now you can see that how big this is. If I hit click me again, it doesn't increase in size. If I scroll down, it's only the size. I can click this 100 times and it won't ever grow the list, which we don't want this list to grow. So that's how we fix that bug. So now, as always, we want to do a git commit and check out. Git add first, git commit -m, fix ever growing list of names, and then git push. All right, thanks for watching.